Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 217 of GI Joburg, and today we're talking Barging In, Deeper. That's right, we're going to get into a little bit of the behind the scenes of Barging In, this time with Mark and Ronald, so that we can get the full story about how that awesome playmotion was made. But before we get into any of that cool stuff, let's just say hello to Steven.
Hello everybody, hello burgers, hello Berg Force, hello Berg fans, Berg friends. Yo, this is Steve. I'm ready. Let's talk playmotion.
And our resident pop fanatic, is he in the house?
Yep, Rob is right here, although I wouldn't describe myself as a fanatic.
You own more than two pops. In my eyes, you're a fanatic.
I second the motion. Thank you very much.
It's a guilty as charged then, I guess.
Cool, man. Yeah, no, wear it with pride, my dude. Wear it with pride. Cool. And then, as always, a huge shout out to the Berg Force, to everybody that's listening. Thank you, guys. We're going to take you on a bit of a journey. As Cujo liked to say, we're going to take you on a wild ride.
Hello, Mark and Ron, our guests for this evening's chat. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Hi, guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Ronald, you've been on the show before. Mark, This would be your first time. Lovely to have you. So you guys created a playmotion, which you then very kindly allowed GI Joburg to host as part of their special forces. Just off the bat, before we get any further along into the show, what prompted this? What is the origin story?
I had in mind a story for photo scenes that I make to use the fact that Copperhead and Ace are gamblers. And I had this idea that they gamble over the moccasin. So I wanted to do a photo shoot with that. But through GI Joburg, I met with Ron and we became friends. And when I visited there, I think I was with you or you were with me, I don't know. But we had a laugh about the battle barge, which is an idiot vehicle. That spawned the idea that we should do something with it, and our goal was actually to make it appeal, and that it was so interesting that people, when they saw the movie, thought, perhaps I want to have the battle barge now. But that
Genius.
wasn't the story yet.
I did the same thing with the USS Flag. Make a playmotion that features it, and people will want that piece of shit. No, I'm kidding.
I don't think the USS Flag needed that.
No, I joke. But it is wonderful to know that the playmotion, its origin essentially comes from a joke, poking fun at the battle barge and trying to find its kind of virtues, and B, that it also sprang from this concluding scene that you wanted to write between Ace and Copperhead, the two gamblers.
The battle barge needed somebody to have a story around, and so I combined the two, and that was it. Oh.
I've got to say, I low-key want a battle barge now after watching that. So
what?
But like low-key, right? Yeah,
the god of mischief.
I am indeed.
You're lucky that Mark bought all the battle barges, and now they're at a premium price.
So Mark is actually low-key.
And they float really well, I can tell you.
It looks like it.
Yeah, you can do everything with it. You
but
can
guys,
do everything with it. Yeah.
It's perfect for throwing away.
It makes sense when you have thousands of them guarding a coastline filled with bats or something, but to have just one, it's really a ridiculous vehicle. So yeah.
Yes. Here the team up on this one. Hey, Mark has bought all of the battle barges on eBay. You can't just buy one battle barge. You have to have multiples. This is extensive enterprises at work. I love it.
I'm gonna be rich.
Okay, so a battle barge on eBay would set you back like 12 US, I think. It's fairly affordable.
It's cheaper than a lot of Joes.
There's one that comes with its box for $100. No, thank you. But yeah, no, they're still fairly affordable.
But
So-
I must say, guys, when talking about playmotion, of course, one of the reasons we really support the channel is because of the of the fun basically you can have with taking the stuff outside, and that is actually the link to, of course, the childhood memories. And we really wanted to make something fun, something light, and reconnect with how it once was. And well, you've set some great examples, of course, and it was fun to do. And for
I'm
me
so
also,
relieved to hear that it was fun.
I mean, also
because-
one of the reasons for me, I mean, Mark and I connect really well, and it was really a fun experience to do this with him. But I also thought, well, since you guys are currently somewhat limited in your options to create playmotion yourself, I thought, well, let just the Berg Force join in and help out.
Aw.
Thank you, Ron. Very grateful. Gratefully received. And lovely to hear that you had fun making it, because oftentimes it can feel like a bit of a chore. I mean, for me, for my part, there are times when I feel like, am I really playing with toys, or am I just playing with my damn laptop, slaving
Yeah,
away,
true.
dropping all these shots awkwardly
And-
onto a timeline?
Yeah, and the fun thing is, Mark, I don't know how you experienced it, but as I remember, you really had a great time and really like playing, and I was a bit
Oh my
more
God.
serious with okay, we need these shots and this angle and that sort of thing.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
The logistics
The
around it,
9-year-old boy in me awoke. I was like a kid again. When I saw the footage back, I am in a lot of shots, so we cut them out, of course, but I could see my smile for the first time, which I didn't realize when I was playing. But yeah, I saw
That's the
boy in me,
best.
the 9-year-old
That is
boy,
the best.
running around with a condor, and it was amazing. I was so happy.
Terrific. I wish I was there now, guys. I would have happily, I don't know, just been the camera jockey and let you play. But let's switch tracks ever so slightly, because we do have some kind of format to these GI Joburg shows. Typically, at this part of the show, we talk about any recent acquisitions. So I'm going to start
New
off with our
shit.
guests.
New shit.
Yeah, who's got the new shit? Ron, Mark, have either of you received any cool toys recently that you'd like to chat about?
Actually, I have. Yesterday, I became some new extreme sets from Big Bad Toy Store. It's a dungeon, which I will use for my Motu figures, and a backstage scenery. And
Did somebody
with
say
that-
Motu?
Oh, dear.
Motu is my shared second love with Transformers, I think.
Okay.
But yeah.
Are we talking about the originals, or are we talking
No,
about the
I'm not a
classics?
classic guy.
Okay.
Yeah, the classics. So Mattel doesn't make them anymore. Super 7 took that over, but yeah, it's been quiet for several years now. But last thing I bought was Snake Mountain, which I'm really proud of.
Wow.
Hmm.
So yeah, but after that, nothing much happened with the classic line. It's all a bit quiet, but yeah, I can use that extreme set, that dungeon set for my stories. So I'm very happy with it.
Excellent. Ron, any new toys, buddy?
Well, and for me, I'm just actually, I have two bats holding in my hand right now. I bought them
Hey, nice.
for to make customs of them. I'm thinking maybe an Iron Grenadier theme or something else, just to get rid of the
Excellent.
neon and make them look cool.
Would
Are
you
they
just
version 2
paint the
bats?
neon orange, red, for instance? Or are there other color swatches you'd like to add?
I'm not sure yet. I'm
Okay.
actually thinking, because they miss the chest plate. I'm thinking maybe I could make a link to how the demon cockpit glass looks, with red, transparent red plastic, and maybe a Destro logo on it or something. But I'm
Yeah.
not sure yet.
Ooh,
Yeah, you could get,
Destra's
like-
bats. That sounds cool.
Yeah, you could get like one of those stickers from the despoiler, like
Right.
that Destro logo, and you could like somehow maybe even get somebody to print it or make it smaller for you, like reduce its size, and then pop it in there. Sorry, I'm going on a custom tangent, but it sounds cool. It sounds cool.
Yeah,
Well, if you
because
switch
I
out
used to
the-
have these figures in the past, you know, these bats, but also I have some snow serpents lying around here, also the version 2. I used to have them, and then I sold them because I never really liked the colors. But I do love the sculpt. So now an opportunity came to buy them again, and I thought, well, I'll just buy them for customs. And yeah, so that's. But it's a project that will need to wait a little. I'm quite busy at the moment with all kinds of stuff. But yeah, in the meantime, I can dream about what colors I want to use.
And Mark and Ron, you gents are both in the Netherlands. I'm led to believe that there is still plenty vintage GI Joe to be had. Would you say that both of your collections are primarily shopped domestically, or are you getting a lot of stuff from abroad?
Yeah, well, I don't know how it is for you, Mark. Yeah, you go first. Yeah.
Well, I shop abroad.
Okay.
Because I didn't know the community in the Netherlands that well, so mostly eBay and Big Bad Toy Store and Space in Germany, whatever, but not in the Netherlands necessarily. No.
Okay. Ron, yourself, have you had a lot of success in the surrounding territories, or?
Yes.
You-
So Mark and I have a very different collecting history in that sense. Because in the Netherlands, before Facebook, I should say, well, that takes you back, right? There were message boards, just something like His Tank, but there also in the Netherlands, there was a very popular message board for Dutch collectors. And actually a big part of my collection and really the good quality stuff, I managed to get it from there. Yeah, and it's only the US release stuff or stuff that was a bit more difficult to attain. For those things, I do shop abroad, but whenever possible, I like to keep it close to home.
yes.
I do think
Postage costs are the
yeah. Well, I
hidden
think you mentioned
drain.
it, Steve, about increasing shipping cost, and it just gets crazier and crazier. We are just forced, to stop acting like a global community. Just keep things local.
We kind of
Yep.
pass it amongst each other, you know. As we say in South Africa, local is lekker.
Baie lekker, my broer. Rob, het jy enig iets nuut?
Nee, ek het niks
Pascal.
nie, jammer. Ek sit maar
Okay, moving
met
right
so.
along there. Rob has
Hey.
no new shit. Paul, hit me with the toys, baby.
I have pictures.
You do. Share away.
Okay, so last week I went and made a grown-up purchase of a shelf for the lounge, as you guys can see, because I wanted a shelf to keep some toys on, and Celia and I are cool about like that kind of thing. So she's like, yeah, we can have some toys in the lounge. So I'm like, yes, we can. So yeah, so that's my current little toy shrine that currently resides in the lounge, and then. How do I put it? I have been going after GI Joe stuff locally, like this guy. See this cat? This is our cat. This is Karma, and you can
Aw.
see how she's stalking the Joes. She's like she actually swatted some after this shot. By the way, she like swatted them. It was quite tragic and traumatic for
Bad
me.
karma. Bad karma.
Bad karma. Yeah. Poor Serpentor went under the couch. Anyway. So I've been hunting down Joe's because I've noticed there's quite a few local guys. I mean, you're talking about local sellers and stuff, Ron and Mark. We've had a few guys locally that have been like, sort of shedding off their collection a little bit, and I've been making contact with them through Facebook and various other places, and of course Bid or Buy, who is usually my go-to. But I stumbled on some cool stuff, and this is something I was very excited about last week, and I did hint at it, so I finally got them. So I'm going to show you my first item. Is this bad boy. I finally have a claw. And technically, I have a complete Storm Shadow because of the claw. So, guys, this is a piece I've been wanting. Like I said last week, I've been wanting this piece ever since I saw Steven's vintage claw. And wow, it's an amazing toy.
Yeah, Paul, it should actually be kind of Storm Shadow's, loadout. It's so irrevocably linked to him. I suppose
Exactly.
issue 21 is to blame for that primarily, but like it makes so much sense for a high-tech ninja to have effectively a rocket glider to get into inaccessible places. But and this is a point that I made with you off air, like the claw gives us a glimpse of like the future of drone warfare, because you put the bomb in the middle of the claw, it no longer is meant to take an occupant. It is intended to be a drone, an attack vehicle that is unmanned. And yeah, I mean, drone strikes are now big news, perhaps for the wrong reasons, but like it's a very effective tool in modern combat. And Cobra was fielding them in 1983, man.
Damn right. And also
Very
something that's
forward-thinking.
something worth mentioning is like when I went to my folks' place to go and pick up a few things, and I dug out my modern era claw, and yeah, it is, and I hate to say this, but it is a piece of crap compared to this. This
Thank
is
you.
beauty. This is an amazing, feat in toy engineering, in my opinion. The sort of repressed version we got for the modern era is absolute rubbish. So much so that when I showed Celia, she actually thought like, wow. She was like, that's really not as cool. Like, she's like, that's lame. Only one little misfire on the claw, which I find kind of funny. Every Joe that I've plugged into the claw so far has fitted quite snugly, except for Storm Shadow. So Storm Shadow,
Irony.
yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because Storm Shadow's back peg is maybe a bit more shallow than the others or something, but he doesn't fit in there that well, and I don't want to force it, But I know how to get it there to, how to stick it there so that he stays there if I really need it to be.
Press
The next
stick.
cool thing I got was
Blue tack. Hey, Paul got a ram.
I got a ram, a vintage ram nogal. So, yeah. I can be nogal.
Just
love
because
those
we have
Dutch
Dutchmen in
words,
our
guys.
attendance.
It's,
Yeah, there you
feels
go. I was
familiar.
going to say, just because we have Dutchmen in attendance doesn't mean we can just open up crack open the tall, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, we are South African podcast as well, so every now and then it's fun. But yeah, guys,
We have a small but dedicated listenership in South Africa. It's very touching. Hey, so this was
Right?
to all you real South African heroes. Too bad about the rugby. More on this later.
So yeah, I finally got a vintage ram. It has its merits in that it's a vintage vehicle. It's definitely a piece from its time. It's something I've always wanted. This one actually needs a little bit of TLC, and I don't want to go into it too much. But the gun on the side does come off, and I know how to fix that. It's actually a really easy fix. But the front fork is not 100% straight, so I'm just busy working that because it was super glued, if not by the previous owner, by the person before the previous owner. The previous owner had glued the forks in because I imagine they can be quite troublesome. So I'm just sort of slowly working that fork loose so that I can get it straight. But also it's a very fragile piece on the toy itself, so I don't want to break it. So it's one of those slow things. Anyway, moving on to
What are
the
you
next.
using to remove the glue?
Oh, I'm using nail polish remover, but I've now sort of moved into using rubbing alcohol because it seems to be doing a slightly better job on the super glue. So, because that's the thing. I'm sort of going through. The only thing I don't want to use is vinegar because I'm worried that's going to crack the plastic. Because believe it or not, it will. But rubbing alcohol, I think, will get me there. I just have to sort of inject it there, if that makes sense. Like, you can't just like soak it there. What I've been doing is I've been putting rubbing alcohol on a cotton bud, not a cotton bud, on roll of cotton, cotton swab, whatever's, and like sort of been jamming it in there and then letting it sort of sit so that the juices sort of flow into the bike and hopefully like loosen that fork a little bit.
Phrasing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Paul, honestly, if you said to me, what is the least caustic of the three things, nail polish remover, rubbing alcohol, and vinegar, I would never have said, I would never think that vinegar is the most corrosive or damaging. Like, I always thought maybe, the alcohol would be doing a number on the plastic. But good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not going to use thinners, and just word to the wise folks, don't use thinners for stuff like this. Thinners will definitely crack or melt the plastic. So, just putting that out there. Cool. Then my next awesome acquisition. Haha! I got my own hooded Cobra Commander.
Very
So,
good.
I mean, I've always had the trouble bubble thanks to Jim. But yeah, I now have my own hooded Cobra Commander, which is great. Which means I got managed to somehow get both CCs in 1 year, which is awesome. Because now I have all of the pre-90s Cobra Commanders. I got hooded, helmeted, and battle armor. So yay! I gotta say, he's a cool toy, and I didn't realize this, but the hood has kind of got like a bit of a rubbery sort of vibe to it, which was surprising. I always thought it was sculpted with the hard plastic. So that
very
was kind of a surprise.
useful, I might say. And there's a real story linked to this. So 2 years ago, when Rob and I shot a review of all the blue Cobra toys in our position, it was for Cobra Convergence of that year. I took a picture with the Rattler that Ron got for us, and a whole bunch of blue toys. And I took the picture against a blue sky, which I had to climb to the top of the roof to do. And it was a slightly windy day, so my attentions were completely on keeping the Rattler from blowing off the roof and falling to its imminent destruction. Unfortunately, Cobra Commander took a nosedive and landed like on concrete. You're expecting this toy from the early 80s to shatter into a million pieces, but no, he landed on the rubbery head. And that must have just taken all the impact because he was untouched. I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, oh man, at least he's going to be minus a crotch. But no, he's fine.
No, he's good. he hit it hard with his head, and it all worked out.
Yep. So rubber will save your head, boys.
No, true that. Listen, in all fairness, having both of these guys in hand now, I can say that for me personally, the masked Cobra Commander is the better one for me. I think it's the cooler looking of the two. I can see the merit in the hooded version, and this is like nothing weird. Like, oh my word, like I have some kind of a strange bias towards the hooded version. I've always liked the hooded version in the comic book, and I think it works really well. But as a toy, and comparing these two, maybe it's just the gold or something on the hooded version of Cobra Commander that I don't like so much. But of the two toys, the helmeted is definitely my favorite. But then again, I love them both because you shouldn't really pick your favorite child. You know what I mean? Anyway, onto and this is like, for me, and yes, I am hyping this up, and I know when I eventually show it, everybody's going to be like, oh, okay, whatever. But this is a big thing for me. And ironically, it's a big thing for me again. I got Destro again. But this time he has the correct crotch, which is awesome. He's not that much of a beta figure inside. His O-rings and everything are intact. He's such a beautiful minty specimen of Destro. He's got his backpack. Not shown in the picture. No, it is shown in the picture. It's just very obscure. And he's got his gun. Yay! There's a whole bunch of collector's trace that's just been removed off my shoulders. But yes, I finally now have a proper, complete Destro. And oddly enough, I have a stunt Destro. So this brings me lots of joy. So anyway, I'm
just going around the room. Would anyone disagree with me if I was to say that Destro V1's pistol is the best pistol produced in the classic GI Joe line? No?
This is what,
No
Rob, this is where
disagreement
you
here?
talk. Yeah, there's no disagreements,
No.
dude.
Well, be sure to hit me in the comments if
Very
if you've
good.
got one better. Maybe Zartan's got a
It's-
better pistol.
It's beautifully
I disagree.
scaled. It's wonderful. It's one of the best sculpts, I would say.
It does that beautiful sort of Luger meets Han Solo's blaster, but with a far more elegant barrel. And it's, as you say, wonderfully scaled. The fact that he has a molded holster that is empty is another thing that just like delights my OCD. He's a joy
I
to
always felt
pose
that-
because of it.
Oh. I always felt that leadership figures should have small handguns, because they don't really go into battle with huge weaponry. That's what the soldiers do. It just seems more fitting.
And in Destro's case, I think there's that Iron Man versus War Machine philosophy that Destro doesn't need bulky weapons because all of his weapons are sort of miniaturized on his person. Like, he is able to knock out tanks and aircraft, but just thanks to his gauntlets. He keeps all his best toys for himself, basically, as a master of weapons. Anyways, we've blown off course slightly, but Paul, I am thrilled that you have a minty Destro with all his gear, because that is a spectacular toy.
Right? I mean, you've been talking it up for years, and now that I finally have the pistol in hand, now that I finally have Destro with his pistol in hand, which sounds only marginally better than what I first said, I am very, very happy, and I can see the hype. I can see where you're coming from. And then also, just a small reminder, guys, if you haven't got this toy yet, she is incredible. Wow.
What toy is that, Paul?
The Baroness from the GI Joe Snake Eyes movie, which everybody loved to hate or hated. But the toy is great. I see that guys are starting to pick them up. I've noticed on Facebook, some of the Bergforce have been posting pictures of their recent acquisitions, and most of them have been from the Snake Eyes movies lately, which is awesome to see. And this is just me doing a small push for this incredible figure, because I showed this toy off to a work colleague who is a big fan of this actress. This actress is
Ursula Cabrero.
There we go. Thank you for the name, because I could only remember Ursula and Tokyo because she's in a show called Money Heist. And so I sent this picture to my coworker, and she looked at it and she's like, "Oh my word, that is incredible. That looks, she's like, that's just like her. That's such a stunning toy." So I was like, yeah. So I just wanted to just hype this up a little bit. So these are just some shots that I took of the toy that I showed to my coworker, but that I've also been sort of working into, hopefully doing a nice review of it. Anyway, guys, not so much new stuff. That's an old new stuff, but I just wanted to hype the figure a bit. And that is me for new stuff, and I'm so glad, so happy. Like, yay! I got some cool new Joe stuff. Yay!
Bergforce have weighed in on the pistol debate. It seems MCDJ ACDC is voting for Zartan's pistol. Hans Chow says that Major Blood's pistol, it shoots rockets. So those are also very strong contenders. It's anybody's guess which one is out in front. Perhaps we will hit the socials with a little bit of a poll. Sounds like a hotbed of controversy. Which of the sort of key Cobra personnel is packing the best pistol? Or is it, in fact, a Joe? I mean, do I have any love for Keel Hall's pistol, for instance? Chuckles has got a nice piece. Gee, if you can find one, hard tops. Oof, good luck. I guess that leaves it with me, gents. I did pick up something this past week. Last minute auction. I was literally putting my son to bed and entering a sniper bid, and it actually happened when the auction was closing. So like I had the sort of turning wheel for a lot longer than I expected, fully expecting the next screen to say, "Sorry, you missed out on the item," but it said, "Congratulations, you won the item." I was like, "What? I put in a super low bid. This is incredible." So yes, good times all around. Anybody want to hazard a guess as to what it was? The hint is, yes, Steve has just knocked out another one of his 5 wishlist items for 2021. Oh yeah! But that means nothing because I don't know if Paul or Rob can remember what those 5 were.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. In the chats, Hans immediately shoots back with fins for the Sky Striker. That would be quite a score, and a pair of them did come up for a local Australian auction this past weekend. But no, I'm not counting that because like the Sky Striker was a thing. I knocked it off the list. It's done. It's mine. I don't care if it doesn't have fins. It's not like I'm able to play with it anyways. It's in my virtual collection. As will this next item. So I got to come back to my boys. Anyone want to venture a guess? Ron and Mark, you're welcome to pitch in if you want. Might be a little bit obscure though.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what you. I mean, I've seen your videos, of course, with what you already have.
Buddy, I don't blame you. I don't even remember what I said. Hell, I don't remember what Paul or Rob said. I think.
Oh, thank God.
Rob, you wanted a yeah, Paul, you were all over the map. You were talking like Motu stuff. Rob, you wanted a swivel arm Scarlet.
I wasn't.
Yes,
And a
that's right.
Dusty. And I can't remember what else.
Ice Cream Soldier.
Ice Cream Soldier. Yeah, well, 2 out of those 3 are yours. What were the other 2 then?
Now I'm even struggling to remember my own choices.
Exactly. Oh, the adult minds of the
Wait, hold
GI
on.
Joburg
Did you maybe get an Action Force Havoc? Because that's what I'm thinking. Maybe. I don't know.
Action Force Havoc. It wasn't a wishlist item. I did kind of discuss one because one had become available at the right price, but I don't know. I couldn't bring myself to get a second Havoc. I'm like, one's enough for me.
Maybe
And of
the
course,
Action
Paul-
Force APC.
Ooh, good one, Ron. That is a beaut. The ATC with all its incredible stickerings and additional kind of positions and internal activities and things. And that turret, which is so good. But no, okay, I'll put you out of your misery, gents. Good guesses, though. It was the Toxo Zombie.
Oh, really?
Toxa Zombie.
A
Wow,
figure
dude,
which
I
have had the opportunity to buy twice on card.
This thing.
Oh dear. You don't like it, Mark?
Apparently not.
Who is pouring scorn on my
I
recent
really hate
acquisition?
that figure.
Do you have one?
This figure was for me the reason why I stopped buying Joes when I was a kid. This crossed the line. I thought, no, this is not my GI Joe from Chicago. And
I can appreciate the fun
now,
factor
I
in
can
this.
appreciate the fact that it's a Toxo Viper and everything, but
But look at the sculpting, gents. Look at
It's
that exposed
gruesome.
face creeping
It's
out of the
definitely
helmet.
it's beautiful looking toy, but I mean, does it fit in GI Joe? I think that's what Mark's kind of
As Toy Galaxy would
9-year-olds.
say.
is coming
The
It's
across.
file
canon.
card, the file card couches it quite nicely, in that if you have guys like the Toxo Vipers handling corrosive, radioactive waste, this is their ultimate fate. That, you know, if and their suits, by their own admission, are built by the lowest bidder, so it's only a matter of time before you've basically been exposed to too much bad radioactive materials. I mean, this is a very 90s understanding of how radioactivity works. It won't outright kill you, it'll mutate you into some kind of flesh-eating zombie. Well, absolutely. And the colors work, in my opinion, because
Toxic,
you know, just like a figure would kind of fade in the sunlight. If you've been exposed to crazy goop, radioactive glowing stuff, it is going to bleach your green to like a neon green and your purple to this like hot pink. And the head sculpt, if I just dial my mind back to 1992, this would have blown my brain. It would be like a decade later, almost, when McFarlane Toys started bringing us this kind of level of gruesome detailing. But it was absolutely unheard of in Star Wars or in GI Joe. So, had I seen Toxo Zombie at the time, I would have snapped him up with relish. It is a cruel joke of fate that I encountered him twice on card in the flesh as an adult and didn't buy him because I was like, no, that's a carded version. I'm going to leave it for a card collector. I'm going to rather hold out for a loose one. Well, the loose one never came. And now with Joe prices the way they are, boy, oh boy, was I thrilled over the moon to get this one for the princely sum of $31. Because I've seen them go for far, far more.
Just a small shout out. Hans said, I have to admit, I have a weak spot for Cesspool. That figure is pretty sweet to me. Me too, Hans.
Agreed.
And that was one of the most gruesome G.I. Joe toys, if not the most gruesome G.I. Joe toy we had at the time. So I feel like your Toxo Viper, Steve, is way up there. I think it's super cool. And Darren Cobb says he needs a mop, a tutu, and a girl. Hell yeah. He's a Toxic Crusader. Or Avenger, technically.
I saw some great reviews on the Toxic Crusaders. Those were colorful, fun toys for their time.
Oh, I love them. I had like most of them.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, man. Of course, I was a Ninja Turtles fan. Yeah, and he was so cool because Nozone had this like little yellow canister, and I only found it like 2 weeks later after having the figure because I was fiddling with the canister and it opened, and it had slime in it, dude. And I was always wondering why there was like a hole in his head. And it's so that you could like drop the slime in so it could come through his nose.
Totally booger action. That's so radical. It's so dangerous.
Yeah, the first one I ever bought was the military guy, because you know he just, I don't know, something. I think there was, you know, obviously I love GI Joe, so I think the soldier part of him like spoke to me. But yeah, man, that was cool. David and I had all of them. Dr. Killamov, those radiation troopers, I think they're called.
Radiation
Nozone,
Ranger.
Radiation Ranger, yes.
Did you have Bonehead?
Oof. Now that you mention it, I think that's one we didn't have.
That was the best one. And it was my first one. And I had him and his smog cycle. Like his entire face was glow in the dark.
That's why we didn't have him, yeah.
So rad. I think I was 9 years old. It was my birthday. And I remember playing with him on the way back from the Spur at the waterfront. He had great hands. Like he had a hand that sort of was pointing forward and a hand that had like a thumbs up. So
Yeah.
Alistair used to be like with the pointy finger, hey you, and then with the thumbs up finger and kind of chuck it over his shoulder and say, get out. Hey you, get out. It's great.
Actually,
he had to be there.
Did
guys.
have him. Looking at a
did.
picture of him now, did have him. Yeah.
Terrific. Anyways,
So
guys, this isn't
sorry,
an
man, I
Eco
derailed you
Warriors chat. No, I think I'm pretty much done. Anyone watching anything cool, playing anything cool, reading anything cool?
Yes,
Hit me.
because I didn't get a chance to say so last time.
Yeah,
Oh, you finally
watching?
remembered.
So last week, I finished Castlevania Symphony of the Night again. I think I may have mentioned I was playing it again, and I finished it. And it was quite cool because somewhere along the line, Robert Kalupitan, how's it, bud? He obviously listened to that show, and he sent me a whole bunch of strategy guides for that. And it was really sweet of him because it was such a nostalgic trip for me because I used to have that EGM squared. There were 2 issues that actually had the whole guide spread over it, and it was so cool that he sent me pictures of it because somewhere along the line I've lost that magazine and it's quite sad. So Robert, thank you so much for sending that those scans or those photos of the magazine. That was super welcome. But yeah, that's the game I've been playing. And I watched a really awesome movie called Kate. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, super cool. Really enjoyed it. You know, you're talking about radiation poisoning. Well, there's some a good example of that in there. But yeah, guys, if you haven't checked it out yet, go and check it out. I still reckon that if they did a modern G.I. Joe movie or they had to cast Lady J, I feel like Mary Elizabeth Winstead would be a great shoe-in. Maybe not necessarily all the way in terms of looks, but I think she definitely has the gravitas, and I think she could carry that kind of character through a film and make Lady J awesome. Anyway, the other thing, and Rob, this is for you, buddy. Thank you so much for this recommendation because I wasn't going to touch this show at all. I thought it was great for the kids and I was going to leave it at that. But I, thanks to last week's episode, clicked on it on Netflix, and that, of course, is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, super CG kiddie version. And guys,
Yeah.
It is awesome.
Yes, it is. I finished watching this morning the last episode, and it has so many great new ideas. For example, the
Yeah.
sharing of the power, which I really, really digged. Yeah,
It's so cool. You know, I
It's
think what I
very
love I think what I love about it is that it just gives me what I want from Motu. It's
Yeah.
like the original Motu is awesome. Don't get me wrong. Like it's a great show, but I feel like there's so much stuff that's unanswered and they sort of tiptoe around Eternia and they don't do anything. But this has got like a proper story. I actually go, okay, I see the genesis of these characters and I'm moving through and you know, even though the lore is different, I'm like, yes, it's its own thing, and I can get in there. And I love that design for Skeletor. My word, Jeff Matsuda, I love your work, man. I loved his The Batman show, and I dig this. This is very cool. It gets my full pseudo Motu fan endorsement. So thank you, Rob, for putting that in front of me.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. I like what they've done with Castle Grayskull, the inside. It's a very strange place. That is beautiful done. I like the fact that they're using their own names instead of the nicknames. Yeah, it's a wonderful show, definitely. Yeah.
I love the revelation of the girl from the cat village. I was like, okay, so who's she supposed to be? Like hitting things with her helmet. And then eventually she transforms, and then there's like a line when they're first fighting against Skeletor's, you know, like finding them in Castle Grayskull, like Ram Man. And I was like, oh, okay, that's Ram Man.
And there's this really cool nod in there, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling anything, but when they go and face Skeletor in Snake Mountain, and they're at the base of the castle, and Skeletor's like talking to them, and then he's like, I can't hear you because you don't have a mic. I have a mic. And then the mic sort of goes, wee, like the old Snake Mountain mic. That's so great.
He's actually blaming the old technology.
Technology. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, guys, if you even, I reckon you try it out. I know it seems super kiddie. The trailer will put you off it. Just watch an episode or two. See if you dig it. If you don't dig it, hey, that's cool. Whatever.
Yeah,
but if you do dig it, you score.
But I think it's a good example of someone kind of taking a pre-existing, because usually I don't like it when they kind of try and reinvent existing properties. Or at least, you know, something that's really old and they try and do it again. But I think this is an example of where they've actually done something interesting and different. And they've kind of made it their own while kind of, I suppose, still kind of showing you, you know, these are the characters you've enjoyed before, and this is our take on it. And they fully took it on. I mean, I like that the origin stories are very different from the original series.
But also in some regards quite similar, which is cool.
As well. But I mean, like it's its own thing. So I'm curious to see like where they will go from here.
Definitely. And also another thing, cool. And before I jump off and let you guys take the mic from me, because you're busy, I can feel like you're like, give me the fucking mic, Paul. All I'm gonna go say is ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-da. Watch that trailer. And that's what I'm gonna leave it at. You guys take it away.
Well, what have I been watching? So this week I started watching something that I saw a trailer for a while ago and didn't know what it was about. I know now because I'm watching it. But I think it's a short series called Midnight Mass.
Yes.
Wait, okay. I have no idea what it was about. So as I started watching, I was like, oh, so that's what it's about. And I've discovered afterwards that apparently it's by the same creator of a series called Hill in the House or something. And apparently that's very good.
Or Haunting on Hill House. Yes,
that one.
Yes, yeah.
Which I'm probably going to go back to and watch. But this has been very interesting. It kind of takes its own time. And it's kind of very focused on more of the characters and the crazy ideas and thoughts that this location and these people create, and it's actually really cool. It makes you think. The effects were pretty decent overall so far, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. I'm halfway through, so I've got like 3 episodes to go.
Yeah,
it's really good.
There was a small argument here in the Loebscher residence. I want Celia to sit down and watch Back to the Future or Jurassic Park or Terminator 2 with me. And like so she's like, yo, do you want to watch something? And I'm like, yo, how's about like Back to the Future or Terminator? And she's like, not really in the mood for that. I'm like, and she's like, what's this Midnight Mass? And there was a few other things. And I'm like, oh God, it's another like possession thing or it's another fucking crime drama. I'm like, I'm so sick of that shit on Netflix right now. I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch. Anyway, we had a small argument and I was like, okay, fine. Let's watch it. And then I'm like sitting there and I'm all grumpy faced and I'm like, and then it gets halfway through the first episode. I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. And then she's like, it is. I'm like, oh shit, I said that out loud. Anyway, we've been enjoying that as well. Sorry, I just didn't want to mention it until I'd finished it. Cool. Sorry, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I want to kind of finish it, but like so far I've been really enjoying it, and it's got kind of nice visually it's very interesting, and the story it's got compelling ideas. It's kind of like this man returns to his home, his where he grew up. It's an island. It's a fishing village essentially in decline. Very religious, Catholic community, and kind of like what happens after that. And then with his return, it also comes a new priest for the island because the old priest is gone somewhere and we don't know where. And what happens after that? I would say it's very suspenseful. I suppose it has. Yeah, I don't want to say too much. I mean, you kind of just have to start watching it and go and decide for yourself if you want to watch it.
Yeah, it's a bit Lovecraftian, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And Steve, what have you been watching, dude?
Oh, this and that and this. Radiohead, a band that is of enormous significance to me, released a new video this past week. If you say the word, which will be on their forthcoming album in November. Oh, sorry. If you say the word. If you say the word. If you say the word.
If you say the word. If you say the word.
That's the name of the track. If you say the word.
You're just pronouncing it slightly differently. There were no different words there.
Just making stuff up, Rob.
Well, I was testing myself to see if I actually remembered it off the top of my head while I scrambled for my notes that had it written down on them. But yes, the album drops early November. It's called Kid Amnesia. Well, Rob, now you know, man.
That's not an album. That's they're re-releasing it.
Yes. Okay, it's a remaster of Kid A and Amnesiac.
Oh,
on their 20th anniversary. But there'll be new tracks, so I'm calling it a new album. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's the same when they re-released OK Computer. Didn't that also have new tracks as well?
Whatever. Bottom line, this band I really imprinted upon as a youth, and fortunately, their meaningfulness has only deepened as I become an adult and even older adult. So it's with some gratitude that I realize I imprinted on like Radiohead and not Nickelback or some shit like
I mean, no
band that has some significance and have some staying power.
Green Day.
Well, no offense to all the Green Day fans out there, but like Radiohead still speaks to me. It speaks to me even more in these rather tumultuous and horrifying times. But I've also been watching, most recently, the Action Robot Punch video showing off his incredible 3D printing work to create a kind of recovery vehicle out of a Wolverine shell. And that is the CoverGirl Wolverine. It's got a front scoop, a crane, and a kind of a bed for the crane. Also a little basket for, tools. But basically, it is a way to spruce up your bog standard vehicle shell that doesn't have a missile box or an engine cover anymore. Like, wow. That is very, very innovative, and I certainly hope that that Ted is able to perhaps bring this to collectors out there, because he will definitely have a burgeoning market for this kind of work, because the quality of it is so good. He has one hell of a printer to get that kind of smoothness of release.
And I mean, his design of it initially, the 3D design, I mean, that has to go into that to actually make it look good before you even
and the
print
prototyping to make sure it fits. So he's printed
Yeah,
that thing at
that's
least
the
like
other
3 or
thing.
4 times to make sure that it fits, because things settle and it could be quite an adventure.
And the
Actually-
mechanical detail he's put into it make it right at home with that GI Joe aesthetic. I mean, the sculptors of the Wolverine, I think, would be proud to have these parts slapped onto it. So, yeah, massive props, Action Robot Punch.
Very
I
beautiful.
see some plastic cups in the background, so I think there's a high likelihood he may have printed these out and made some molds of them to test them out as well. But I mean, that's just conjecture. I would love to have Action Robot Punch on the show sometime for us to talk a bit of cool stuff about some of his customs, because he does some
I have a
awesome
sneaky
stuff.
suspicion he'd love to join us. He's certainly a fan of the PlayMotion stuff.
And also just a small shout out to him. Recently with my RAM, it's his video that actually gave me some good ideas on how to fix my RAM. And yeah, so thank you, dude. And I enjoyed the play motion in them as well. So, yay.
I also
Anyway.
watched the rugby live.
Oh yes, that's right.
So jealous.
As a family. We went to the Queensland Bank Stadium here in Townsville and were treated to the New Zealanders versus the Springboks. So it was an All Blacks Springboks clash, and I'm very relieved to say it wasn't a complete massacre. The scoreline was close. It was 19-17. I think there were only 2 tries in it, and the rest came from penalties. No, maybe the Kiwis scored another try. I'm trying to remember. I mean, my memories are pretty fractured because I had a 6-month-old on my lap who was partying, guys. This kid was going ballistic, loving it. He got to stay up past his bedtime, and yeah, he was the coolest dude. Let me just assure you. So Elliot enjoyed his first international test, and Mom and Dad came out on the other side, not too worse for wear.
Oh, look at those Brillos.
Dude, yeah, he was, as I say, the coolest guy. Of course, we were in the stand that was facing the setting sun, so we probably missed about the first 15 minutes of the game, thanks to that. But once the sun set below the stands, the atmosphere was incredible and gave me a glimpse at the world that was. You know, a world where international travel was free and easy, and we could all just come together for events like sports or concerts or whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure every South African in Queensland attended this match, and obviously the Kiwis were there in force. There were even some Argentinians, because I mean, this was one hell of a derby night. Like, it was the All Blacks versus the Springboks, and immediately after that, the Wallabies versus the Pumas. So
That's
Wow.
wild.
epic.
Amazing.
They're just
4
all one
nations.
day.
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool.
So you had to wait for the sunny to go behind the climber.
Yeah. Before we could go to the bottler, that Arvo. I thought of another one, but I've forgotten subsequently. But yeah, it's very amusing. Every day, Australia provides. It's the gift that keeps on giving, my friends. And yes, Darren, the
Laughing
Wallabies
gas.
did come out. They did come out on top. Again, bloody hell.
No, I've been watching Sunbow sort of on off, and laughing gas popped up. It's like the only time they mispronounce gas.
Guys, I think we have cleared out our to-do list, and now what remains is to talk PlayMotion. That's why we're here, right?
Behind
yes.
the scenes, barging in.
So, I mean, I talk way too much. I'm going to kick the mic over to Rob if you've got any pressing questions. Barging In was a PlayMotion that featured on our channel some weeks back. The link will be in the description below. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a good time. Some tastefully shot toys in a cool environment with a lot of passion and a very unique approach. And even some humor to boot. So, a winner in my eyes. Rob,
It was a fantastic package overall, I think, because it's kind of self-contained, which it kind of reminds me of Training Day. Was it Training Day? Yeah,
graduation day.
It's graduation day, which is kind of self-contained. It kind of like has a start, a middle, and an end, and that's also what I think makes it really cool. But like, I had a question about because I didn't recognize it, but maybe it's an international release. But the Shark 9000 was blue. Is that a custom, or is that like a version I've never seen before?
Well,
that
that's
one's for
correct.
you, Ron. It's
Yeah. Well, so that's a custom I made. So
Because
it's
it looks absolutely amazing. I really love how did you what?
so what I did, well, apart from the colors, I used some Havoc parts, some Raider parts, and some extra torpedoes to make it look the way it does now.
It's probably like my favorite thing from the whole thing. I mean, okay, the battle barge is pretty cool, but that was it was so cool to see. I was like, I really thought it was something that I'd missed. Something that had been released maybe in India, or maybe it was a European exclusive. But like, it's really fantastic. I really like it.
This is actually a topic Mark and I talked about a bit more. That in the 90s there were actually some great sculpts, but you just need to see through the color, and so to find the beautiful toy. And
to that point, the custom bomb loadout that you put on the Ghost Striker, I suppose the orange missiles were just slightly too offensive. So you've got, off the top of my head, I think you've got, are they Devastator missiles? There's some of those like maroon Cobra missiles that you've managed to affix to the bottom of the Ghost Striker. Was it an easy fix? Did you have to custom those parts?
No, it's quite simple to do. And actually, if you want to use a lighter load, then you can just leave those Devastator missiles behind. But if you want to come with a full package, then you can use those. But I actually used those Mud Fighter bomb, those racks.
Yes.
Just wrapped a little tape around those bomb racks to make the upper part a bit thicker, so it squeezes in nicely. So I didn't have to make any modifications really.
Now the Shark 9000 custom was called the Constrictor, and was there any specific background to that name, or was it just kind of like cool snake-ish name that hadn't been used
to
yet?
Mark for that one, because he came up with that name, and it kind of stuck. So I really loved it. And my thought behind that name is, it's a heavily armed boat. So the Constrictor, so if you meet this boat, it's your end, basically. Constrict.
And it had a custom operator as well. You had Admiral Latimer, which I believe is a cartoon character.
Yes.
So the thing, what we wanted to do with this video, first, fun, of course, just for ourselves, just to have fun and, make a video about a silly vehicle called the Battle Barge. Then we wanted to show off action features of the vehicles. I think that's very important. Also I believe in your earlier videos, that's also what I really loved. And also showing versions of vehicles that you don't usually see in video. So that's also why the other version of the Warthog was used, and we used some custom stuff.
Just like the Joes, use desert camo in the swamps.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Well, you got some lovely comments. I mean, the folks who watched it were very quick to respond, like, what vehicle was that? What version of Warthog was that? Was that a custom version? We have a picture of the Constrictor. So if you are watching the YouTube version, you are in for a treat. Beautiful. And I noticed at one point you even used the Shark 9000's rubber band powered the props.
Right.
Lovely feature. So extra points for integrating it into the shoot.
If you don't own it in your collection, I can really recommend it. There's so much detail there, and with the proper colors, it really, it's just beautiful.
Agreed. And it must be Cobras.
Well, not necessarily, actually, but
I suppose blue. Well, is blue a color that can go both ways? I think Cobra has far more blue representation than GI Joe.
But I have
But,
seen quite a few customs of this mold. There's also a Tiger Force version, a green one which mimics more the water moccasin, and they all look good actually. So you can
It seems
go
like
both
everyone
ways.
agrees the original coloring of this thing was just terrible.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Everyone just trying to make their own better versions of it all these years later.
Yeah.
I even painted mine at one stage.
Yeah,
Rob,
it was
do you
like
recall?
grey, wasn't it?
Well, any of the neon orange or sort of hot pinkish orange parts.
Yeah, those
like the
became like grey, I
missiles.
think.
I painted them black, and I painted
was
portions
black.
of the hull black as well.
Mm.
I just needed a bit more detail because mine never came with its stickers. Yeah, and it came apparently sealed in box, but when I opened it, there was like a piece of chewing gum stuck to the inside of the box. I was like, hang on, hang on. And there are a few parts missing as well, like half of the shark torpedo and whatever.
The chewing gum
It was
is your
fine.
compensation for the missing parts. You didn't enjoy that
And
chewing gum?
Look, it was a gift from my sister. I wasn't going to say, hey, sis, what's going on here?
Why'd you steal those parts?
It was really wonderful to take those boats outside and in the water. I think that water really adds an important element when you shoot a video. Was it last year, Stephen, that we did that backyard video?
Oh, yes.
Backyard Heroes video. And then I used the bug and the shark, and that was, so much fun to do.
Oh yes, and used some GoPro footage, as I recall. You actually kind of got submerged at one point.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So there's another recommendation. Check out Ronald's contribution to Element X, the backyard battles video that we did for Cobra Convergence. Ooh, yeah, it was last year, wasn't it? I'll put a link in the description, and a time code if you want to skip to Ron's contribution. I'd like to address a controversy that a number of viewers pointed out, and this is something that is quite near and dear to my heart as well, and I'd love to get your take on it, gents. Lifeline is seen in a later sequence manning a turret. Is he not?
And he's actually the one shooting from the Chapmay patrol boat. You cannot see him in the shots well clearly, but he's the one who fires away. It was a deliberate choice because, to me, the figure, it came with a gun. And yeah, Doc already is a pacifist. We don't need to. And in the Benelux full brochure, he's manning the gun from the Tiger Force version of the shark, of the Tiger Shark, which is the moccasin. So yeah, we wanted to as a sort of Easter egg, make a shot of Outback and Lifeline in a water moccasin, the way they were photographed in the catalog from the Benelux. So that meant that he, was placed behind the gun, and I thought, well, let's take it all the way.
I admire you for taking a stand. I also agree that, in spite of his comic book and cartoon appearances and them really hammering it home, the fact that he comes with a pistol and that in nowhere in his original file card does it refer to him being a pacifist, that really speaks to me.
Yeah.
If you are in a combat zone, as Lifeline most likely will be, you've got to be in a position to defend yourself. Though putting him on the turret at the front of the attack boat, that's a bold choice right there.
The only way to prevent injuries, is to injure people first,
the best defense is good offense.
You don't have to heal anybody if they're dead. So,
but of course, this is we try to recreate a Sunbow cartoonish feeling. So there are a lot of choices in there which are completely nonsense. And one of the most famous one is the sitting duck positions in almost every vehicle. So yeah, this was just a little joke.
And fantastic humor throughout. I must say, like my personal sort of laugh out loud moment has got to be where there's a little bit of friendly fire, and the constrictor deploys a mine a little too close to the cobras on the battle barge, and you've got a Toxo Viper like with basically like a reed or a stick or something trying to push this mine away.
Yeah.
But not only that, but the voiceover, it's like he's trying to blow it away with his breath. Like, he's like, no, 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 no. Very funny.
Yeah, that was my idea.
Beautiful, beautiful. The whole thing coming down to a card game as well also has that playful Sunbow like cartoon writing feel for me, which once again, very commendable, gents. It feels like you've managed to kind of get on top of a number of different genres.
Well, it was staring me in the face, actually. Ace always wins with gambling, and Copperhead is addicted to gambling. So, yeah, let's put those two together and gamble. So, yeah. It was never done before, and I thought, why not? There's an opportunity there. And so I made these really little cards, and there you go.
I see that. Were they printed
Very
out
cool.
in that kind of splayed out position, or did you have to set them?
I printed them out like that.
Okay,
and placed them
good.
on cards. Yeah. Yeah, it's
I
so
mean,
small.
One breath of wind would blow them to oblivion. Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Well, actually, that's funny you mentioned it, Stephen, because when we were recording that specific scene, the wind was starting to get stronger. So
Oh,
the
dear.
Warthog is also positioned in such a way that the cards are protected from the wind.
Yeah, good. Though, yeah, I mean, wind, man.
Yeah.
You protect it in one direction, it decides to change
Yeah,
direction.
the figures keep falling over
Madness.
and that sort of thing.
Hey guys, while we're looking at
Nuts.
the picture of the card game, I'm getting a good look at the Warthog, and I may have missed this when you guys were chatting earlier, just because I was getting some of the images. But is that your custom, Ron, that you did of the Warthog?
No, this is actually
It's a convention exclusive.
Yeah, convention
Wow.
exclusive. It's Mark's. Yeah.
It's mine.
Because I was gonna say the paint job on it is actually pretty good. Like, and I was about to compliment you guys on your masking job there. But no, that's cool. It's cool
Nope.
to know. What convention
Compliment the
exclusive
convention
was that?
club. It was the Slaughter's Marauders. There was
Was
a
it?
Sergeant Slaughter and the three Marauders, or the three Renegades, I should say, in a kind of
Yeah.
a desert scheme, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
Zazel
2007
has. Oh yes.
It's a long time ago. Somewhere early 2000s that this one appeared. Yeah.
And I
Back
have
when the
some
convention
questions.
exclusives had O-ring figures. I want to flash a comment from
Oh.
GI Gary in the chats addressing Medic Lifeline behind the machine gun. Hey Cobra, this is a medical shot. The needle just happens to be 7.62, as in millimeter. Oh.
It's a fix-all.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
all painless will take
Yeah.
all your hurt away.
So I know that you sort of covered this last time we chatted about it, but all of these cardboard backgrounds and whatever's, are those done by somebody? Is that like made by a dude that like does them that you can buy them from him?
No, you can buy them. It's extreme sets. I make my own dioramas, but in this movie you have seen none, none of my own. This one I bought because it's a 2-level one and it's reminiscent of the interior of the Terrordrome in Arise, Serpenter, Arise. I think that was the inspiration they took it from. But Extreme Sets has such beautiful cardboard dioramas, and I'm a sucker for cardboard. I grew up with Action Force, which had a lot of cardboard, the headquarters and such, and so to me, it gives me that cartoon feel, but also to me it belongs to GI Joe cardboard somehow. I don't know why, but. So I make my own dioramas, but yeah, in this case, this is not one of mine. No.
No, because they are stunning. I mean, they got a great color
Yes.
palette.
This is I think one of the best one they've made for well, it's not specific for GI Joe, but it's really inspired by the Sunbow cartoon. So yeah.
Yeah, because I see your one little computer console there. It's the silver one. I'm gonna go back.
That
to the
is
previous
one I made myself. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's very similar to the one I made for the Bergforce. It's actually on our Patreon if you guys want to download. I've got one that's got a very similar shape to that, with different configurations and whatever. So if you guys are
Well,
keen, if you want to add to your
what I, what,
dioramas.
what I try to do with the little consoles, because I wanted consoles that would have chairs with them, so that's why I made these. And the shape is similar to the consoles that came with the Extreme set. So the
Yeah, I
shape
see
is,
that.
is yeah.
That's very cool. No, I really like them. I'm actually kind of keen on some for myself, to be honest. So that's why I had to ask. And I'm sure there's many guys watching this that feel the same way. They're like, oh, wow, that would be so cool to get some of those and to dress up my toy shelf with those. I'm sure there's a lot of army builders out there that would love to put this into their glass cases at the back, you know,
Yeah.
and give their armies, their their masses of Crimson Guards and Cobra officers a nice backdrop as opposed to just the wall. So cool.
Yeah, and they have a lot of things in 3D, and that's also really cool. Yeah.
And Bart's got our back in the comments. Apparently, that Marauders set with the Warthog was a 2006 exclusive.
Oh yeah.
Which would make sense because it was kind of on the eve of the 25th anniversary. The modern construction hadn't kind of come into place just yet. Oh, nice. But we'll put some links for these sets in the description below. So if you are keen to check out some paper goods to dress a set for your action figures, check out Extreme Sets. Nice. Thanks.
And supporting your interpretation.
You should be careful though. They have sometimes the same set for the scale of Joe's, but also for greater scales, 6-7 inch figures.
Okay.
So look very careful which one you take. Otherwise, you end up with something too small, too big. Yeah.
You're speaking from experience, Mark.
No, but no, I haven't made that mistake. But I buy also their sets for my Transformers and my Motu figures, so that's why I know this. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. And then Hans Chow mentioned, he's like, I'm the punk, although he insists it's pink, who forked out for Raging Spoon's complex system. Dude, I feel you on that. That thing is so cool. I saw those at JoeCon, and I was blown away by what they did there. It's just, I didn't quite have the budget at that time to splurge on it, and I was always hoping that I would somehow get around to getting to them online. But I kind of feel there's a sweet spot with diorama stuff. You know, you can kind of go with a mix of the plastic and a mix of the cardboard, especially if you sort of use your plastic stuff as a lot of your foreground elements and your cardboard as your background. But then again, that's just my thoughts on it. I'd love to see that sometime, Hans. So, send us some pics. Cool. There was one moment in this playmotion that I actually quite enjoyed.
Just one, Paul.
No, I mean, I enjoyed the whole
Being
thing.
generous
I mean,
with the words, eh?
we all have our little favorite moments. So it had to do with these guys. So I loved the fact that these guys have a very Asterix and Obelix kind of presence to them. Not in that they're Asterix and Obelix, but in the Asterix and Obelix books, there's always guys that are delivering some kind of commentary in the background somewhere. And these guys sort of reminded me of that. And it was so great that you guys put the camera on them. So everything's like happening around them. And you just got these three losers that are in a little battle barge and they're chilling out. And I got to say, I loved that. That was one of the standout moments. I mean, all of your action scenes and everything that you did are very good. And I feel like they really complement these sort of quiet moments. Because I know that when I initially scrubbed through this, I was like, that's interesting. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, that's very clever. So I just wanted to give you guys some kudos for that. That was great. And I enjoyed the character that you imbued with them. The fact that these are maybe three buddies, and I would love to see them featured in another one of your playmotion things, sort of in the background, or now they've been promoted to the bug crew or to whatever.
You are giving me some ideas. So
yeah, it's just these three dudes. It's and I mean, you could even just change up their uniforms again and put them back to whatever else they could be, and just if you deliver the voice performances the same way. It'd be cool because I dig that. I think it's great, and it actually makes me want to do kind of it's inspiring me to maybe do like a bit of a fan art of these guys, you know, because it's such a cool sub team, actually. But yeah, I had to mention that.
Thanks.
And then also, Mark, now that I have you here, cool jacket, dude. I don't have any shots of you in your jacket, but yeah, cool jacket. It's always worth mentioning. Anyway, that's it for me.
Nice Rolex,
Yes.
Ron. Was it a Rolex?
A Rolex. Oh,
No,
the watch.
I caught sight of your watch at one point. I was like, was it
Yeah,
stainless
it's-
steel
well,
band?
yeah.
Mm.
It
And
is
you
a
can take the
brand,
South
yeah.
African out of South Africa, but you can't take the South Africa out of the South African.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
ha.
lekker watch, bro. Can I hold it for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, that's what playmotion is all about. Like, we aren't trying to cheat the fact that we have hands manipulating these toys. That's the kind of the jubilant thing about it, as far as I'm concerned. That and the fact that, like, there's no ways you could shoot this in stop motion. You can't go out to a location and expect it to behave while you gather hundreds and hundreds of still shots. It has to happen kinetically. It has to happen live. So, yeah. Happily, the hands in the shot is the price we pay.
Well, with playmotion, I don't mind that. It's part of why it's playmotion, and at one point it's even so when I see what you do, you don't even see the hands anymore.
I know. I've kind of become a bit of a stickler about that. Like, the hands are always there. I can assure you, Mark. I just crop the shots now. So you'll see a lot of like waist up shots.
No, but also you focus so on the toys themselves. As one who watches, the story is good, so you follow that. So you tend to forget that it's animated by hands. Yeah, I don't think
It's a very
wrong.
Japanese thing, by the way. Just saying.
It is okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the first blushings I had with it was when I think of live puppeteering on stage, where the puppeteers are dressed in black,
Yeah, you can
but
see
your
that.
focus is entirely on the puppet.
Yeah, I
And
think
the way
that's
it's
it's,
limited.
it's definitely a live action thing. It's a theater thing. When you go to the theater, you do kind of suspend your disbelief more than you would when you go and see a movie, and somehow it works in these videos, I think, as well.
Yeah, I don't
But
see
also
the code
kudos
anymore.
to
It's
the
just like red
scripting.
dress, you know, building.
But kudos to the scripting, Mark, and I believe you wrote it. You are
Yeah.
a writer in real life.
I am a writer in real life, yeah. Albeit
Excellent.
not a famous
Well,
one.
evidence. Well, we'll settle for infamy then. You're infamous on GI Joburg, my friend.
Hey, if it pays the
yes,
bills.
it had a lovely warmth and playfulness to it, which
I had a lot of fun writing the characters for those three, especially. I already heard the voice of the Toxo Viper in my head when I wrote him. So I said to Ron when we did the voices, I said, I don't mind which voice I do, but I want to do the Toxo Viper. That is the only one I really, really want to do. Because
and Ron
he's-
was like, sure, but then I get Baroness. Fair trade, a Toxo Viper for Baroness. Right.
Definitely. No, but the Toxo Viper, yeah, he's a happy camper. He had so many fumes inhaled, so
And yet he didn't become a Toxo zombie.
no,
Wow.
because I hate Toxo
Not
zombies.
yet.
He will never become
Who
one,
knows?
never.
Yeah.
Well, yes, exactly. If these guys are recurring characters, and we eventually get a version 2 Toxo
I can see
Viper.
such a good gag coming from that, though.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like Shaun of the Dead when at the end of the film, spoilers, Shaun's buddy, he keeps him like in the shed chained up, but he's completely zombified. So this trio can become like a duo and a zombie. Hey, the sequel,
Or
just
even like a
writes
weekend
itself,
at
gentlemen.
Bernie's. A weekend
I-
at Bernie's kind of situation. They're all like, "Oh, Carl, he's been turned into a zombie. It's okay. It's like he's not vicious. He's not attacking us." And they drag him through the Cobra base, and they're like, oh no, there's GI Joe, and GI Joe open up fire and they hide behind him, and he takes all the shots, and they're like, "Cool, he's still okay," and they get him out, kind of thing. And then at the end of it, they realize it's actually not their buddy, and that could be like quite a fun thing as well. But I mean, it doesn't have to play out like that, you know.
I think it's this is a good start for some fan fiction here. I think.
Lovely. Would you ever consider a sequel? I mean, you did set up for the Tiger Force within this episode, which is a lovely sort of epilogue. That and the three guys singing "Row, row, row your boat" in canon. I mean, pure class. Come on, that's a great addition.
I think there will be a sequel, but we don't know when.
No
we're kind
pressure,
of busy
man.
both of us now, so yeah. But
Well, Ron told me the last time he was on that it's actually you're several hours drive away.
yeah, I live at the eastern border of the Netherlands, and he at the western border. So the entire country is between us, which is a small country. It's a 2.5 hour drive. So, but yeah, it's not.
That is
we're not
significant,
neighbors.
though.
Yeah.
And you spent 2 weekends, the first weekend being the principal photography, the second on the edit, which is
Yes.
incredibly efficient.
Yeah.
I could not possibly crush a video's principal photography in 1 weekend. That's a pipe dream.
We wanted to do it professionally, and because we were in such a short time span, we made the storyboard, we made the script, so that we had all kinds of structural things to help us to do this in a quick way.
Did you
Yeah.
find it easy
Storyboards.
to stick to the storyboards and the script, or did
Actually,
you find like when you got to the venue, you were like, or the location, you were like, oof, we just gotta have to do some shortcuts.
What we did, I made an outline of the story, and then we made we shot the footage. And of course, then a lot of things already changed. And then with the material we shot, I created a storyboard in which where you could see which shots we will use and from which second to which second. You can see in the storyboard that I actually used the footage that we shot. And that helped us to put things together. And Ron also is very structured, so he had already set every footage in the right order that we had planned. So yeah, it went very smoothly.
And
Because-
what I would
Lovely.
like to add is I really love the creative process. You know, you can prepare whatever you like, but when you are on location, then you already see things changing because you need to deal with the situation there and make it work. And, you know, we also had to mind weather conditions. And like I said before, wind was picking up at some point. We actually had an entire new scene that we did not use. We did not shoot footage for that, but we actually wanted to, well, at first we wanted to add another scene with other vehicles, but we felt, well, you know, this is enough. And, you know, if we stay here much longer, the lights will not be as good as as it should be. So we made some decisions on the spot. And that's what I like about the creative process, that you just need to make, you know, quick decisions when you're there.
How long did the shoot take in total? How long did you spend on location?
Few hours, I think.
Well, you know, you just forget the time when you're doing this.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I typically shoot until my battery dies.
Okay, yeah.
Or
But we did
Well.
make sure we made both video and photos, because well, as you could see in the video, you really do need some still shots now and then. And we also learned some lessons, which is good, you know, for our next video. I would like to, well, even level up a bit.
And for instance, we now know that a Chapmate patrol boat doesn't float. It sinks like a
It's
drake.
not float.
oh dear.
Hans,
Well, Rob and I discovered that between our two whales, his floats, mine does
Yeah.
not.
Ah,
But his didn't have the vanes. He couldn't find his steering vanes
Yeah,
for the big
they're
day.
similar.
So we stuck with mine, and boy, was that a chore to constantly be kind of like picking it up off the bottom of the water and draining it for the next shot.
I've never dared to put the wheel on the water, but it should float, right? I mean, I know it has holes in it, but
I don't know what caused mine to sink. I think maybe it just had a bit of gappage happening in places where it shouldn't, and Rob's had a bit more water tightness. I don't know. It seemed pretty arbitrary that his floated so well, and mine immediately took on water. Hans wants to know, what kind of cameras are you guys using?
Yeah. So that's also a lesson for next time. So I used a GoPro camera, and we also used just a mobile phone for some shots. And as you can see in this photo, which is shown now, it's kind of rounded at the corners, right?
Yeah, it's a
so that's
fisheye,
actually the underwater camera mode with the housing around it. So if you want a straight image, then we should actually use our cell phone or, well, basically, I believe the GoPro in general gives that rounded image. So yeah, it's better for underwater shots, I guess.
Cool. And then, did you guys use any like editing tools that you like? Any kind of special editing tools? And listen, you're not obligated to share this. I mean, we all have our little secrets and tricks and things like that. But you know, for the guys out there that are interested, are there any? You know, was there anything that you used that you thought was maybe unique in your editing or something?
Well, I'm not sure because we're both not really experienced with this. I mean, I used the Final Cut Pro editing tool, which is pretty standard, I believe, from Apple. But we're still exploring this. You know, what I found useful is the library of sound effects that was actually included. So I didn't know that was there, and because first we also made a lot of sound effects just with our voice, and later I switched those for some sound effects.
I remember.
Oh, yes, they were very atmospheric. The tank tread sounds, the boat sounds, the jet sounds. I mean, it opens with that lovely condor shot sweeping
Actually,
over the water.
I'm quite pleased myself with the condor sound. I like that.
Yeah.
It adds, atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It gives it such grandeur. And it is such a spectacular shot. And the sort of the fisheye lens of the GoPro really works to take in the size of the condor, but nice and close up. So you've almost got a full wingspan in frame, and yet you're so close to the jet. It's very cool. Yeah, look, you had me at hello, as it were. At the very, very top of the video, I was like, these guys have done well. Jeez. And yes, take it from me, it's not easy. It's sometimes a bit of a chore, and I'm so glad that when we started this discussion, it was very evident that you had fun doing it. But it's time for the truth to come out, gents. What would you say is the most arduous part of the process? I mean, it seemed like you were really getting down and dirty or in the water, and I'll be the first to say this sore body of mine doesn't get down as easily as it did when I was a 9-year-old. Did you find yourselves like straining over these toys for a while and then, damn it, Zanzibar, stop falling over?
Yeah, you go first, Mark. I'll do my bit later.
Okay,
oh dear.
For me, that was not a problem. I mean, no, that day was a lot of fun. What I found that the hard part was to watch all the footage and see what we could use or not, and that took me a long time up till the point that I get bored. So I watched it, of course, in preparation for that storyboard that I made. But that was a lot of work. But when we were out there, like I said, I had a smile from one corner to one corner. The time flew by, and I felt like a kid. I played so much. Actually, when Ron was shooting, I just took my time and played with the other toys. So.
Oh wow, love it. Yeah. That's terrific. I mean, we don't often give ourselves reason to play. Like, we need a catalyst. Sometimes we need something like this, a project, to get us to actually play with our toys, because otherwise they're just going to sit on the shelf or in the diorama. Yeah, good. Ron, did you have something to add?
Yeah, so for me, actually, being outside, making, creating the footage is just plain fun. And at the end of the day, yes, you're tired, but it's a happy tired. But actually the editing process, it's wonderful to put things together, which is fun, but there was a bit of a tight schedule because we planned it in those 2 weekends, and the second weekend was the editing weekend, and I really needed Mark here for the voice recording. And so what's a bit straining for me is actually putting everything together within that tight schedule. So I think the nerves in my arms are still a bit strained from all that work.
Wow, jockeying the editing software. Well, I applaud you for your discipline.
Work. You really need to time things very precisely. So, and we're not that experienced with this sort of stuff. So, but it was fun.
I don't know if you necessarily get any more efficient with experience. You tend to just second guess yourself even more. It's like, oh, that shot's a bit shit. And like, oh, the action wasn't so great there, or that figure didn't behave like I wanted them to. You tend to nitpick yourself to death, in my experience. I certainly hope that's not true of everyone else's experience. But I know that for me, I'm now at a stage where I'm like, I will obsess over a sequence for a week, if not more. Oh dear. But
I think
gents,
when things are more crushed and there's kind of like less time to do things, that's kind of when the process goes so much better, because you're not left with a lot of time to have to think about things. Probably one of my favorite videos that I edited and did really fast was our Battle Android Trooper videos. While we're in the States. I mean, literally, I think I was sitting there at the Statue of Liberty Park or whatever in New York. I filmed it really quickly. I had an idea in my head of what I wanted to do, and I put it together, edited it all on my iPhone, and I was done. And that was probably one of my favorite experiences of making a video, because then you don't have time to like second guess yourself. You just do it, you put it together, and you're finished, and then it goes out. And it came together really nicely, I thought. So I think,
correct me if I'm wrong, didn't a Battle Android Trooper like fire a flamethrower at a horse in that video?
Yes, it was Scoop. Yeah, Scoop was filming them. He was watching. It was fantastic. You see, it was wild. It was insane, and you don't second guess these things. So I think, yes, the more time you're left to think about something and fiddle with something, the more you will kind of drive yourself insane. So my advice: just do things as fast as possible. I mean, plan ahead, plan it. I mean, I think the planning process is important, and I think definitely, I mean, you can see what Ron and Mark have come up with. That there was a ton of planning beforehand. They knew what they wanted. They went out and got it, and it worked out. It came together. Barging In is a really cool video. I enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, what I like,
and we're all looking forward to Barging In Part 2. Enter the Toxo Zombie.
Barging In further.
Weekend at Toxo Zombie. I actually I want to just jump in there with Rob a little bit. I want to jump in there with Rob a little bit on the bat videos. I mean, mine also. I also ironically, I shot mine with my iPhone back then, and then I edited. I did the edit. Let's just say that it's easier. I did the edit for it in iMovie as well, and I actually did that on. I think it was on my iPad. And as I was going through it, I was like, oh, okay, this actually needs music. And then as soon as I started putting music in, I needed to re-edit it because I wanted to change a bit of timing. If you guys want to check that out, you can check out Rob, Steven, and my videos for the bats. I think that was for Cobra Convergence as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I see a theme emerging here. Yeah, I'll put the link in the description.
But a trick that's always helped me, or that I find helps me quite a lot when I have done some of the playmotion stuff, specifically with like Blazing Sands and with Element X, is that I will take a photo. So I'll do my setup of my scene with the lighting the way I want to do it, and then I'll take a photo of it, and then thankfully, because a lot of that was indoor stuff, I could look at the shot in the dark and I could actually see it like properly on screen. I could be like, okay, cool, this is how I want to play it out. And I'd sort of take these quick little photos of how I wanted it to look, and then I'd run through the scene. But that's been my process. I'm not saying it's the most efficient for everybody, but that was nice for me because I could immediately see, okay, this is going to work if I do it this way, you know, and then I had the photograph of it, which is kind of like a location shot, I suppose, or a setup shot or a prop shot or whatever's. So I could go back and reset it, you know, if I needed to. And that helped a lot with like Blazing Sand, where I used a lot of like crazy lighting, and yeah, had fun with that. Anyway, if that helps any aspiring playmotioners out there. Also, speaking of lighting, Dustin needs a bit of like, just a bit of a shout out. Recently saw Dustin had done like a lighting test video. I'm sure you guys, if our listeners that are in our group on Facebook, you guys have seen it. Really cool stuff that he's doing there, like really cool. Definitely taking things up a notch. I just wanted to put that shout out there, Dustin. So yeah, man, it's looking great, dude. Anyway, cool.
Yeah, man. I never get tired of watching people playing with their toys on YouTube. So thank you to everyone who has embraced this little thing that we do. But let's flip the script, gents, because we've got some items in our mailbag. It's Postbox the Pit time, and this one comes to us from a former Cobra Viper, everyone's favorite.
Felix Stratton here, otherwise known as Mercer. So, GI Joburg, here's my question for you. What is a vehicle you would have me and the Renegades in to get us in and out of our adventures?
Huh? Did you guys get that?
Yeah,
The
what vehicles should
Renegade's
the Renegades
vehicle
be in?
of choice. I'll open it up to our guests from the Netherlands. Mark, are you a fan of the
Well,
Renegades by any chance?
Yes, in fact
Okay.
I am, and I use the Warthog, the one you see.
course.
Yeah, and when
I
they
could have guessed.
yeah, but when they're in a city setting or something, I use a Bruder. What is it?
The hammer?
Rover.
Like a Land Rover.
Land
Oh,
Rover.
yes.
Thank you.
That's
It's
it.
a Land Rover by Bruder, this German company, and yeah, that works
Is it
really
the
well.
green one? I think they've
It's
done
the
it
green
in.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, very
I'm becoming
good.
acquainted with those.
Do they fit decently enough?
Perfectly. They fit in the
Amazing.
back, they fit in the front. Everything works. It's good in scale. It's not too big. Sometimes it can be too big for the scale of the Joes, but because of the Bruder figures are a bit larger. But no, it's perfect. It's very beautiful.
And you reserve that specifically for the Renegades?
In the beginning mostly, but also I extended to the Slaughter Marauders and the Steel Brigade. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Slaughter's boys get the Land Rover. Nice. Ron, have you got a ride of choice for your? I don't know. They're not Joes. They're not Cobras. What are they? They're Renegades.
Well, I did display them once in the Hammer, which to me that's the sort of vehicle that you can really wreak some havoc with, and it feels like the kind of freedom vehicle that those guys would use. You could even
Yeah, and it's got such an
customize those
open
clothes.
plan, such an open
Yeah.
plan design. It's this.
Yeah.
It's not compact and it's not tight. It feels like it's something that they've kind of custom worked on. Like they've bolted the cannons onto the sort of the wings and the missile launcher racks on the back. Like they've taken a standard U.S. Army Hummer and just went, nah, let's renegade this up a little bit. Nice, I like it.
Yeah, it has that feel. Yeah.
Totally. Like a GI Joe answer to the Thunder Machine, except more strictly military and less Trans Am or Firebird, whatever. MCDJ ACDC is in that camp as well with the hammer.
Yeah.
Rob,
See,
how about-
Gads reckons an armored up ore striker.
Nice.
Ooh, that'd be
cool.
really nice.
Yeah.
Though you're gonna have to put two of the guys on the running boards, then I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
an all
use
striker is
several, I would say, just more than
very
one.
good.
Yeah.
I would
How about
probably
you,
go
Rob?
with Mark on this and go with the Warthog. I think the Warthog is perfect. It's good cross country. It's good in the water. you're going anywhere basically. And if you don't care about what you look like, you can go into the cities with it too. You don't need no Humvee. You just keep riding around in the Warthog. You never have to get out, essentially. You know.
Paolo.
I just want to add
Paolo.
something on the topic of the Ore Striker. I would say the Foe Striker, which is the sort of modern remake. That's a pretty cool vehicle for the Renegades because it's got its own little tent. Just something to think about there, yeah. Because and the way that it's done up with the way that it's designed to hold weapons and things, I think that's quite a lot of fun. But actually, my suggestion would be I would go with Cobra Claws. And I would almost make it like, right? Because I'm like there now, right? But my thinking is like, that's part of your initiation. Like you have to go into a nearby Cobra base and steal a claw, you know? So that like they each have their own claw, which is kind of cool. And then it's repainted up and done in their own deco. But I like that idea because it's easy in, easy out. It is essentially a jetpack / glider. So, you know, they could go from like high altitude and be pretty stealth with it until they need to kick in the jets. And I see that as being a pretty cool Renegade vehicle. But you need like 4. Each sold
Easy in,
separately.
easy out. Name your sex tape. Hey.
Hey, 99.
99.
But yeah,
I think this topic in some form has come up before because I definitely found favor with the idea that each of them gets a triple T, but customized to their specifications and kind of decaled in signature ways. And to that end, Paul, you produced some fantastic custom Red Dog designs for a triple T, and fortunately, Zazel from Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse had a naked triple T with no stickers on it, and hey, bish bash bosh, we had a custom Red Dog edition triple T. So hey man, there's the opening. Work up a Mercer custom set and a Taurus custom set, and we can.
Mercer's already done. Mercer's already done, but Taurus is coming. And actually, I feel like that's a conversation. Are we? When we do another, maybe when we dive back into the Renegades, we can use those designs, but I'll definitely have them done. So.
Well, yeah, look, I mean, the Renegades plotline, there are only 2 triple Ts on that mission, the Sarges and Red Dogs. And we kind of made Red Dog out to be some kind of hot shit behind the wheel, bit of a wheelman. We've extended his stunt background to stunt driving as well. That's his backstory, at least as far as GI Joburg is concerned. So yeah, I'm afraid there's no opening for additional triple Ts on that particular mission. But hey, who's to say they aren't parked at the slaughterhouse? I'm sure Taurus keeps one under wraps somewhere, somewhere in that cavernous vehicle.
Maybe the livery can be put onto their new claws or whatever. I don't know. Either way, guys, if you're part of the Berg Force, you have got access to that livery. You can download it and go to your favorite print shop and get them to print them for you on vinyl, on clear vinyl, and then bang, you've got a custom
the vinyl frontier. We've got another question, guys. Hey. This one comes to us from Raptor.
Hello, GI Joburg. It's me, Raptor. I heard you had a fun discussion about the Swamp Masher last week, and I'm feeling a little jealous. What vehicle do you think I would look best in?
What? Another vehicle assignment question. Clearly, this is a burning issue out there. A lot of Joes and Cobras want to know what GI Joburg thinks they should be manning. So, gee whiz. Once again, let's start with our international guests. Ron, what vehicle do you suppose Raptor would look best in?
My first thought would be the Cobra jetpack, but then, of course, he would need to remove his wings.
Tricky. Is there a vehicle that fits the man's MO that doesn't need a back plug?
I really wouldn't have an idea. No. I always
and should it be something?
Are some kind of small vehicle?
Yeah, maybe a ferret or something. But
yeah.
Well, I'm thinking like this guy clearly looks like something out of Masters of the Universe, and could you get a more Masters of the Universe looking vehicle than the Buzzball? Think about it.
Okay.
Well, then
So
I would,
Or the swamp
then I
masher.
think
But
I would
then you
put
don't
him
get
in
to
a
see his
muscles and use his
majesty then.
roton or something.
It's like
Sorry, what was that,
hidden
Mark?
inside that thing.
Yeah, you want to see the gun show and those freaky feathers growing out of his back.
Exactly.
Mark,
So
what
you
were you
put him
saying on
on-
the subject?
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I would put him in a Motu vehicle like the Roton or something.
Amazing.
Ah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. The Roton, which is like it's the buzzball on its side.
Yeah.
You put him in Mr. Pentel's air chariot, I think.
Step
He'd be
aside,
fantastic
Emperor.
in that thing.
I rooted for the other guy in the Civil War. Oh.
It would
That
have
could
to be
actually be
something
pretty cool.
aerial, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to get him in the air.
That was
So he
my
can,
first thought. Yeah. Something that he can invariably bail out of and use the sort of the wings as his glide, safe glide from harm's way.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite is this suggestion by Darren Cobb, the Pogo. I feel like the Pogo is an awesome look for Raptor, and it's also great because like once it's landed, you can even have Raptor posed on top of it. You can look majestic on his little bounce house of death.
Of course, Darren
well,
follows
there
that
was a
up
comment
with,
in the chat just now, a bit back, hashtag death by Pogo. That was, also referring, of course, to Element X last year.
insult to injury. Darren follows up his comment by saying, "What would an accountant drive? The Cobra Volvo." Oh man, it's fun to take jabs at accountants, right, Matt? Anyways, man, you're right. It has to be aerial, and me being the kind of the OCD, I like my toys to play in their distinctive eras. I kind of also see it as the Cobra jetpack, and that's something that Troy Smith, who did the clairvoyance video that featured Raptor, had him manning this jetpack. That somehow his kind of rapport with birds make him an excellent flyer. So I mean, strapping him to a jetpack basically is the best expression of that sort of ace flying ability. Anything more substantial kind of makes him out
small
to be
helicopters. What's it called? Those,
the Cobra heli pack from 1988, the pull back and go one. Perfect.
Actually, the rocket sled also makes a lot of sense for him. If you think about it, like, yeah, I mean,
and
the rocket sled's pretty cool.
He can keep his wings on.
Yes, exactly. Another great one would be the Rage. He could like be perched on the big gun, and I use perched on purpose. And there he is, like with his arms crossed and his wings billowing in the wind as the Cobra Rage terrifies some poor city. And the driver's going, "I wish he would shoot something," instead of him just looking main. Like,
Those like they got them at the sort of beaches or like lake resorts. They have a speedboat with a winch to a parasail, and you kind of get winched up. And so I'm thinking like
the piranha.
Basically, just winch Raptor up to any boat, and just have Copperhead drive him around. Like, whee! This is fun. Yeah, that's
Faster,
method of-
Copperhead, faster!
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. All right, gents, if that's it for the Postbox the Pit, I think we've come to the end of another fantastic GI Joburg episode, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Thanks to
You
our
did
two
say so
Dutchmen,
yourself.
Mark and Ron. I did indeed. I know, right? Pat on the back all round. But unless anyone's got any burning issues, I think it's time we wrap this one up, gents.
Well, I just want to remind people that you can join the Berg Force by visiting our link in the description below that takes you to our Patreon, and you will then have access to all kinds of fun little goodies like the Triple T Red Dog livery that was discussed earlier, as well as the little cardboard diorama piece. There's actually two, as well as a whole bunch of wallpapers and some of the music and all kinds of fun stuff. And plus, you get to join this awesome live audience that we have in the show right now. And we've been pulling comments from them the whole session, so you get to be part of that. Also, just another thing, the Patreon, the Berg Force, should I say, have been receiving their special gifts I've been sending them out as I've gotten them done. And just a small reminder, if you haven't yet, please let me know who your favorite GI Joe or Cobra is. And that'll help accelerate the process. I would hate for you to miss out. And I'm, of course, directly speaking to the Berg Force. And if you get in time, maybe you can get one of those cool little surprise gifts as well. I'm not saying what it is yet until everybody has got those, and then we'll do a big reveal. And if a monthly subscription isn't your bag, but you want to represent GI Joburg, or you just think our shirts are really awesome and you want one for yourself, check out our merchandise store. It is also linked in the description below, and you can have some very awesome. You can have some fantastic GI Joburg t-shirts to wear that are very GI Joe, but not for copyright reasons. And that's it from me.
Heck yeah. Yeah, this has been awesome. Thanks, Mark and Ron. It was awesome to kind of get behind the scenes and kind of understand a bit more about how you did it and how it differs from how Steven, maniacally kind of does things. Yeah. Does it forever until his bloody battery dies.
Don't listen to me, kids.
We just need another shot. Just one more shot. Okay, now we're going to shoot it from this angle and 5 other angles. And I hate editing.
My baby's in the back seat crying.
Take me home. Why did I shoot so much?
Yep. Guys, once again, thank you for joining us, Mark and Ron, Paul and Rob. Thank you to my eternal partners in crime through thick and thin. GI Joburg, we keep on trucking. If you haven't checked out Barging In, please take a look. And take a look at all the stuff we've been suggesting, because we're awesome and we've got great suggestions, right? And thanks for joining us once again. See you next week, Joburgers.